Hi, Coach Bill Shea, Commit to Compete. I really encourage parents to sit down and think and develop a sports philosophy. And when you do this, it really should entail these three factors, okay? The first factor is ownership. Okay, what are you going to do about ownership? All right? I believe the player should have at least 51% ownership. Okay? The player should be the boss when it comes to sports. Their sports, what they do, they should be the boss. Everything else, parents are the boss. But when it comes to sports, youth sports, competitive sports, the player should be the boss. Okay? I was 100%, I had 100% ownership what I was doing. My father told me, you don't have to do anything. Doesn't matter to me, blah, blah, blah. And I did more than, in basketball, more than 95% of people. And in baseball, probably more than 75, 80% of people. Okay? So I had ownership. I had 100% ownership what I was doing. Didn't have to play if I didn't want to, but I played, right? For the most part, right? So some people don't have that, right? Some kids, they have no ownership. I do what the old man says. And that's no way to raise a kid in a competitive sport. That is so short-sighted, I can't tell you. Okay, because that kid's gonna one day be 25, 30 years old, and he's gonna remember how you made him feel. And if you're making him feel like obligated and miserable, he's gonna remember that. Okay, and I don't know why people would do that to a 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old kid. Make them feel bad about themselves because they're not trying hard enough in sports. If they don't want to play, then they shouldn't have to play. Maybe they're trying to tell you they don't really want to play. Okay? So that's number one. The ownership is very important. Okay? The more ownership the player has, I'm telling you, in the long run, the better off it's going to be. A lot of parents don't want to give ownership. They're afraid because they're afraid the kid's going to do nothing. Well, I'll give him ownership. He won't do anything. Well, I mean, maybe, but wouldn't you rather know that now rather than faking your way through it or pretending or being frustrated or spending money when you really shouldn't be? The kid's not that interested. He's not that interested. If he is interested, then you do everything you can to help him. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Okay? So ownership is crucial. I encourage to give as much ownership as possible. Okay? Understanding this. Ownership doesn't mean they can do whatever they want. Right? Ownership, they have to understand, coaches want to win, the best players play. The only way you can be one of the best players is to practice. And if you join a team, you go to every practice, you go to every game, you listen to the coach, you try to help the team win, you finish the season, there's no quitting. From there, now you can own that. Okay? Those are the rules of ownership that a player has to abide by. Okay? The second thing you want to do is, how are we going to deal with winning and losing? Okay, some people, everything's about the W. No, hey, listen, I want to win. I'm crazy. Like when the game's going on, I want to win. Okay, but how do you react after the win or the loss? How do you handle winning? How do you handle losing? Okay, obviously you're losing, you're going to be down a little bit. You're winning, you're going to be up. But I'm talking about once that subsides, how are you going to handle whatever happened, right? Because I believe it should be the same. The process is the same whether you win or lose. So let's say you lose a big game, all right? So you have that feeling of losing a big game. You're not trying to process everything then. You're just feeling it, man, okay? So you wait till later that night or maybe the next day and you start evaluating. Okay, you evaluate. And you would do the same thing if you won a big game. Hey, you won a big game, enjoy it, have a party, enjoy it. And then the next day, evaluate it. So the process, whether you win or lose, should be the same. Right? You should evaluate, okay, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What can I do better? And then move on. That's it. That's how you grow from winning and you grow from losing. Okay, just because you won doesn't mean you were perfect. Just because you won, maybe you got lucky. Maybe you hit a shot at the end. Maybe you could have lost. Evaluate everything you do, right? Every game, evaluate it. What can I do better? What else can I do? Okay? And that's what you want to teach your child to do. Hey, you're going to win, you're going to lose. Sometimes winning's going to be within your grasp, and you're not going to make the play. Okay. Why didn't you make the play? Maybe I just missed. Maybe I didn't practice it. It could be a million things. Okay, I got to practice it more. Move on to the next day. Move on to the next thing. Okay? And then finally, the last thing that you want to do is come to an agreement on rules of engagement. How are we going to do this, right? As a parent, as a father, am I going to be like your coach and pushing you and pushing you? Am I going to get on you? Am I going to back off, do what you want to do? If you need a ride, I'll drop you off, or somewhere in between. Okay? Establish rules of engagement. And again, the player's the boss. So the player really establishes those rules of engagement. If they're telling you that they don't want you, like coaching them up, don't be insulted. What they're really telling you is, I just want you to be my dad. I just want you to be my dad. Because I know a lot of guys that their relationship was strained because the old man was just crazy about sports. And it was really unnecessary and served really no purpose. So the rules of engagement are important. Some kids, yeah, hey, I know a father and son, they're like this all the time. That's the way the kid likes it. They argue about what they should do, what he should do. They argue. Then the kid makes a decision and they hug. I mean, that's their process. Okay, so come up with a process that works for the player, okay, and as far as how you're going to communicate, right? So you have that, so you have ownership, you have how you're going to handle winning or losing, okay, and you have rules of engagement, how we're going to communicate, what tone, how it's going to happen. And there you go. Right there, you got your child in a nice spot where they can go out there and own what they're doing, try to perform for their teammates, try to be the best they can without having to worry about whether dad or mom or whoever's going to be, all upset or about the game. It's a game. Let the kid play the game, okay? Evaluate it, grow from it, move on to the next game. Commit to compete. I'll see you in the next video.